I absolutely love Escovitch sauce. With just a handful of simple ingredients and easy techniques, you can create a wonderfully complex and versatile condiment. And it's not just amazing on fish, it pairs beautifully with any seafood you can think of, but don't stop there. It also works great with meats or really anywhere you want bright, zesty flavors to cut through some richness. Hey, I'm Nick and today I'm going to show you how to make two versions of this delicious condiment, also known as pickled pepper. Let's dive right in. The first version of escovitch we're going to make is more like a fresh pickle. The final product gives us crisp, crunchy vegetables and bright, vibrant flavors. One of the most enjoyable aspects of this version is the texture, which is why it often includes a few extra ingredients, but it still remains a simple and straightforward preparation. Carrot is essential in escovitch, providing both excellent texture and flavor. It adds a satisfying crunch that perfectly balances the tanginess of the sauce. This version is often given as a gift or used as a showpiece for special occasions like fish fries, so presentation matters. Adding a bit more flair makes all the difference. A simple trick is to make a few notches in the carrot before slicing. It's an easy way to elevate the visual appeal and impress your guests. Escovitch has its roots in both African and Spanish influences, and it's a reflection of Jamaica's diverse heritage. The name itself comes from the Spanish word escabeche, which refers to marinating fish in vinegar and spices, a technique that helped preserve food in hot climates. When the Spanish colonized Jamaica in the 16th century, they introduced this preservation method. African slaves who were skilled in adapting and innovating kept this technique alive even after the British took control in the 17th century, adding their own unique twist to create what we now know as Jamaican Escovitch. Those carrots now kind of look like little flowers, simple but effective. Next up is chocho or chayote. It's a popular ingredient in escovitch. While it doesn't have a strong flavor on its own, it absorbs the flavors of the other ingredients and adds great crunch when pickled. These smaller, less mature chocho are perfect for achieving the right texture and a nice design. Just like with the carrot, I'm going to peel them and make a few notches before slicing. The natural ridges on the chocho make peeling a bit tricky, but they definitely help when making notches. Escabeche was modified to suit Jamaican tastes, incorporating local ingredients like Scotch bonnet peppers and pimento or allspice. If you want to learn more about allspice, check out my in-depth video linked in the description. While escovitch is uniquely Jamaican, other countries like the Philippines and those in Latin America have similar condiments that share Spanish roots. If these chocho were more mature, we'll have to remove the centerpiece, but that's not a problem here. The other ingredients are pretty simple. For the onions, I'm just going to slice them into rings. For a basic escovitch, the only truly necessary veggies are onions, carrots, and of course the essential Scotch bonnet pepper. Speaking of peppers, I need 3. I like a bit of color in my escovitch and the peppers add that vibrancy. I have 1 habanero and 2 Scotch bonnet peppers. Scotch bonnets have a really unique and distinctive flavor. Fun fact, they are always green and when they ripen, they turn yellow. They sometimes look similar to habaneros, but those come in a wider range of colors, like red, yellow, orange, or even chocolate. While habaneros can be visually appealing, they are not as hot or as flavorful as Scotch bonnets. There are a few differences, but generally if your ripe Scotch is anything other than yellow, it's not a true Scotch bonnet at all. Next, I have some sweet peppers which I'm going to cut into rings and remove the seeds and seed membranes. I love the flavor they bring to escovitch. And that's it for the prep, quick and simple. For the pickling, I'm using a glass jar with a lid. Simply place the veggies in. You can do this in any order, but I like to alternate them for even distribution. You might hear a lot going on in the background. I often shoot videos at night, so those are just some nocturnal animals doing their thing. You can add dried allspice berries now or later. I like to add a little bit now. Next, add a few cloves of sliced garlic. This will bring some depth to the pickle. Great. The only thing left now is to heat up some vinegar. I'm using 2 cups of white vinegar. Add a generous pinch of salt and a big pinch of whole dried allspice. You just need enough vinegar to cover all the veggies. Heating the pimento berries extracts more flavor than if you skip this step. The pimento I added to the jar earlier will release its flavors more slowly, so the pickle will have great flavor for longer. As soon as the vinegar is simmering, give it a few minutes, then remove it from the heat. Now, simply add the hot liquid to the jar. While heating the vinegar isn't totally necessary, it does speed up the pickling process and intensify the flavors. Just make sure everything is submerged and then we can set that aside to cool. This version of Escovitch can be stored at room temperature for up to a month or more, as long as all the veggies are completely submerged in the vinegar. After that, the flavor and texture won't be as fresh and as vibrant. The second and final Escovitch sauce is probably the more popular of the two. It's more of a sauce and less of a pickle. This one is really quick. Jamaicans typically make it right after frying fish, oftentimes using the same pot and then simply adding it to the fried fish. It uses similar ingredients, and even though it's a bit more hands-on, it's still really simple. Just like with the first version, I'll need carrots, but this time I'm going to cut them into strips or julienne. This Escovitch sauce gives you more control over the texture of your veggies and allow you to develop more savory flavors, but I'll dive into that in a minute. Chocha is good to use in this recipe, but I prefer to skip it. It doesn't retain the texture like the first Escovitch and doesn't add much in terms of flavor. Next, I need a pan on medium heat with a generous splash of oil. Use a pan that's big enough or tall enough for everything. Add a couple cloves of sliced garlic, a sprig of fresh thyme. If you don't have fresh thyme, then just don't use thyme, your recipe will be fine. Now, add about a tablespoon or 2 of allspice. You can really go crazy with this in Escovitch. Give that a good saute to develop some great flavors. Next, add the other veggies. Onion, carrot, hot pepper. Be a bit conservative here, this pickle will always be spicier than the other one. Escovitch is hot, but there's such a thing as too hot to enjoy. Now add the sweet pepper along with a big pinch of salt. Escovitch can really handle it. I'm also adding a bit of sugar to slightly offset the acidity from the vinegar. This Escovitch should still be intensely acidic, but a touch of sugar makes it taste fuller. Finally, add about 2 cups of vinegar, just enough to barely submerge all the veggies. You could use less vinegar and still have a great sauce, but you'd need to adjust the salt and sugar accordingly. This is where texture control comes into play. You could pull this off the heat now for the crunchiest texture, or you could let it cook longer if you prefer your veggies on the tender side. I'm shooting for slightly limp with a bit of crunch, so another minute should do. Next, give this a taste to make sure we're on the right track. That's really good. I make this Escovitch sauce a lot, so I can instinctively get the right taste in one go. It should taste really sour up front. The vinegar should hit you like a rock, but after that you should find a balance between the heat of the peppers and the aromatics from the allspice and thyme. The sugar rounds it out and the salt brings all the flavors together. Usually, when Escovitch sauce tastes flat, it's almost always because it needs more salt. This version of Escovitch sauce is typically served hot over fish or seafood, but you can store it in the fridge for up to a couple of weeks. Just like with the first version, the flavor and texture will slowly degrade over time, so it's best to use it sooner rather than later for the freshest taste. And there you have it, 2 delicious versions of Jamaican Escovitch sauce. Escovitch sauce isn't just some tasty condiment, it's a big part of Jamaican culture. You'll find Escovitch sauce on tables all over the island, especially during special times like Easter or Sunday dinners with the family. Imagine a lively kitchen, the smell of fried fish filling the air, and a colorful bowl of Escovitch sauce ready to top it all off. It's not just about the food, it's about gathering, celebrating, and enjoying those moments with the people you love. And during Easter, Escovitch is practically a must have. It's a symbol of celebrating togetherness after Lent. So when you whip up this sauce, you're not just cooking, you're tapping into a rich tradition that connects you with the heart of the community. A big shout out to all my patrons. Your support keeps the kitchen cooking, and a huge thanks to all my viewers. I hope you and yours are doing well and staying safe. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one.